I got a word for y'all today. So I'm gonna break it down for y'all, okay? I'm gonna blow y'all's mind too. It's one of my top favorite Bible stories. What got you healing was your faith. He said, Jesus called me, I'm on the way. Got a blast. What did you stop believing in? Don't put me in charge. I don't even know what I'm doing half the time. I want the beautiful home. I want the entertaining space. I want real friends. I want a solid marriage. I want a family. The question is, gosh, I sound like a pastor or something. You better preach, preacher. Okay, let's take a deep breath. Okay. That really helps so much more than I ever knew that it helped. Hey, friends. Listen, I'm tired. I am so tired today. I think it's the weather. It just randomly started to rain out of nowhere. I'm like, it's cold in Ohio. I'm just not having it. I'm not for it. I want to like cuddle up with some tomato soup or something. Y'all be doing that? Like Netflix and chill with some soup. Ooh, in the fall or the wintertime, top tier. Anyway, I got a word for y'all today. I got a word for y'all today. I got a word for y'all today. And I'm actually so excited about today's word because it's one of my top favorite Bible stories, and I've been waiting to talk about it. I've been waiting to talk about it. I know that this one's going to be a little bit longer of a video because there's so much to pick out of these verses. Like, oh my gosh, even just running through it quickly is going to take me a minute. Today's word is, the question is. The question is, and it stems from a story found in Mark chapter 10. I'm going to be reading verse 46 through 52. I'm reading from the NLT version of the note-taking Bible from Hosanna Revival. It will always be linked in the description. And we are talking about the story of blind Bartimaeus. Listen, when I tell you, I'm obsessed with this story. It only took me discovering one sermon a while back where he just delivered this message so beautifully that it stuck to me so much. And I see myself in the story so deeply that it's just so intriguing to me. Like, I love this story. So I'm going to read you guys the full story, but I am so curious to know if anybody that's watching this has never heard the story of blind Bartimaeus. If you've never heard the story before, drop a 1 in the comments. I am so intrigued to know which viewers are hearing this for the first time through me. Like, I'm so curious to know that. So drop a 1 in the comments if you've never heard the story of blind Bartimaeus until right this very second. I'm going to read it straight through, and then I'm going to sit and we're going to break this thing down, okay? It says, "Then they reached Jericho, and as Jesus and his disciples left town, a large crowd followed him. A blind beggar named Bartimaeus was sitting beside the road. When Bartimaeus heard that Jesus of Nazareth was nearby, he began to shout, 'Jesus, Son of David, have mercy on me.' 'Be quiet,' many of the people yelled at him, but he only shouted louder, 'Son of David, have mercy on me.' When Jesus heard him, he stood and said, 'Tell him to come here.' So they called the blind man. 'Cheer up,' they said. 'Come on, he's calling you.' Bartimaeus threw aside his coat, jumped up, and came to Jesus. 'What do you want me to do for you?' Jesus asked. 'My rabbi,' the blind man said, 'I want to see.' And Jesus said to him, 'Go, for your faith has healed you.' Instantly the man could see, and he followed Jesus down the road." When I tell you, growing up in church, I read this story quite a few times, and I did not understand anything that it said. Like, I was like, oh, yay, it's a miracle. He healed the blind man. Of course, it's such a miracle, but the depth of every single verse in this particular scripture is so wild. It blew my mind. So I'm going to break it down for y'all, okay? I'm going to blow y'all's mind too. Let's run it. All right, so starting in verse 47, it says, when Bartimaeus heard that Jesus was nearby, he began to shout, Jesus, Son of David, have mercy on me. The thing that stood out to me in this verse is that Bartimaeus was a blind man. Bartimaeus had no sight. He could not see, but he used what tools he had. He did not focus so much on what he didn't have. He focused more on what tools he had that he could utilize to get him to where he needed to be, to get him to Jesus. He's like, all right, I don't got no sight, but baby, I got a voice. And he started shouting, he started shouting to get the attention of Jesus. And what's so beautiful to me about that is that he did not count himself out just because he was missing certain tools. And he was missing huge tools. I mean, sight. He did not say, oh, I'm unworthy of healing. I'm undeserving of healing. I can't have this because I don't have sight, because I'm not perfect. He said, no, I'm going to use what tools I have, what tools I was given. So the question is on this verse, what tools do you have that you are not utilizing because you're so hung up on the tools that you don't have? Ooh. How many of us sit around and we're waiting to have all the tools before we ... before we do anything? We're like, no, I have to have the perfect situation. I have to have all the tools. I have to have all the resources before I can do anything. Do you? Or do you need to start utilizing all the tools that you have? What do you have that you're not using because you're so focused on what you don't? I just know that this is going to be a long video because this is so... Okay. So sorry. This is going to be a long video because there's so much I can say about all of this. Okay, moving on to verse 48. It says, be quiet, many of the people yelled at him, but he only shouted louder, Son of David, have mercy on me. Oh my gosh. The people around him told him to hush. The people that surrounded him told him to be quiet. Stop yelling. You're aggravating us. This is so unnecessary. You're being extra. That triggered me, child. That half of the verse is a message in itself. There will be people that sit around laughing at you, that sit around telling you to be quiet, that are uncomfortable and bothered by you shouting. And in those moments, you have two options. Do you sit quiet? Do you let other people stop you from going after what you're supposed to be going after? Do you make yourself uncomfortable and block your blessings to make other people comfortable? Or do you shout louder? Bartimaeus shouted louder. When people told him to hush, when people tried to silence his voice, he was not sitting there like, oh, dang, I already feel inadequate because I'm blind. I'm already lacking something huge. And now these people are over here telling me to hush. I'm bothering them. So, oh my gosh, I need to be quiet. Like, he did not let those insecurities or those flaws that he had stop him from going after what he was supposed to go after. He shouted louder. The question is, what blessings are you missing out on because you are so worried and caught up about how everybody around you feels? What are you not going after because you're worried about making other people uncomfortable? Or you feel some type of way because they don't have your back, because they don't see the vision, because they don't fully support you, because they don't get it? Are you letting the opinions of other people stop you from your blessing? Are you letting their opinions and their feelings stop you from getting to God? Because I don't know about y'all, but I'm going to call myself out on this one. I used to be so embarrassed to speak about God because it made other people in the room uncomfortable. It would be like this weird, awkward elevator silence type of thing. Every time I brought up God, they'd be like, It just always got so awkward and uncomfortable. And because I didn't like to make other people uncomfortable, I shut my mouth. I stopped talking. I let the people surrounding me stop me from speaking about anything. And what blessings was I blocking? So many of us sit there and feel like we need to have the support of everybody around us. And when we don't have that support, we start to second guess ourselves. Is this what I'm supposed to be doing? Am I on the wrong path? Am I making the wrong decision? Am I crazy? I've asked myself so many times, am I tripping? Because other people, especially the people that are surrounding me, They don't get it the way that I see it. And I'm not saying that nobody does, because I have my purpose partners, I have my people, I have my village that they see it too, they get it too, and they're supporting me 100%. But the people in my close space that I see all the time, they don't get the vision. They don't see it the way that I see it. They're telling me to shh. Don't cause a commotion. Don't make people uncomfortable. Don't question people about anything. Don't trigger anybody. Watch what you say and watch how you say it. And I'm telling you, when God told me, Chelsea, in this moment, you got a couple options here. Either you stay obedient and open your mouth and stop worrying so much about making other people uncomfortable, or you fold and you give in and you go back to that life that you were living. You make yourself uncomfortable to please everybody else. Make yourself unhappy to make everybody else happy. Which one do you want? Jesus. If you are ever on my lives or if you're on my Instagram, I am very open about my journey. I am very open with my testimony. I have no shame in my game anymore. Like, it does not bother me at all. But it took a lot of work for me to get there, because I was really nervous at first when I was calling out to God and I'm like, God, I need sight. God, I need help. And people surrounding me were like, shh. Bartimaeus shouted louder. He said, anyway, I hear what y'all saying and I don't care. I'm not going to let anybody else's opinions of me stop me from getting to where I know I need to be. He's like, I know that if I get God's attention, if I can just get his attention, he will heal me. Oh my gosh, y'all, stop. This scripture gonna have me praise dancing in this car. I don't even praise dance, but I feel like it would come out, a little shimmy or something. Okay, let me stop playing. Verse 49, it says, when Jesus heard him, he stopped and said, tell him to come here. So they called the blind man. Cheer up, they said. Come on, he's calling you. Bro, if I just read that again and you missed it, don't miss it. Don't. When Jesus heard him, first of all, every single time you reach out to God, God's going to hear you, okay? I'm just saying. He stopped and said, tell him to come here. Who did he say that to? Who did he say that to? Because it doesn't say that he was like, okay, Bartimaeus, come here. No. It said he stopped and he said, tell him to come here. As in, he told the people that were telling Bartimaeus to hush to go get him. Jesus used his enemies in that moment to save him. Jesus used his enemies in that moment to tell, come get him, bring him to me, tell him to come here. If that ain't a word in itself, I don't know what is. The question is, how many enemies do you have in your life that you are... The question here is, how many enemies do you have in your life that you are so worried about and so focused on that could have the tools that you need, that could be used by God to get to you, to help you, to guide you? So often we are in competition with everybody all the time. In this moment, had the unhealed version of me been Bartimaeus, first of all, I would have packed it up and went home, got a blast, because all these people are telling me to be quiet and I'm uncomfortable. I feel ganged up on. I don't want to do all this. I would have folded in a hot second. But also, I would have been comparing myself to them, because that whole crowd has something that I don't. I don't have my sight. I can't see anything and they can. So I immediately would have been like, oh, they got a one up on me. They better than me. What just started playing? Okay, truly, I have no idea what that was. I just started recording and it just started playing this random song. I don't even know how that would have happened. Jesus, let me find out I'm getting some real love, baby. Go into the altar and... Okay, stop playing all the time. Anyway, but I also would have been comparing myself to them because they had something that I didn't. I didn't even have my sight. Everybody that was surrounding me, they could see and I couldn't. And so I would have folded, baby. I would have been like, pack it up. I'm going home. Y'all are better than me. Y'all deserve it and I don't. Who am I to ask Jesus to heal me of anything? Y'all are better than me. Y'all deserve it more than me. Baby, I would have been comparing myself to them. Oh my gosh. So verse 30, moving on, it says, Bartimaeus threw aside his coat, jumped up and came to Jesus. Please stop. Now, I'm a researcher. I don't like to just read certain things and then I'm like, I take it for what it is. I like to look up I like to look up the verses in different versions of the Bible, because I have the NLT, which is the more broken down version. It gives different wording on the same subject, if that makes sense. And so I looked it up, and I want to say the NIV or the KJV. I looked up both. But in the other versions, it does not say coat. In my version, in the NLT, it says coat, COAT. And I was confused by that. Like, we talking a jacket? Why he take his jacket off? Like, I was all confused. In the other version, it says cloak, CLOAK. Now I had to look up, what is a cloak? Define cloak. Cloak meant, when I looked it up, cloak meant of authority. A long, heavy robe-like coat, an Old Testament symbol of authority. Y'all, the second that Jesus called on Bartimaeus, he gave up his authority. He gave up his control. He ripped it right off and he went right to Jesus. Stop playing. There was no hesitation. The question is, has God called you? You just have yet to give up authority. You have yet to take your cloak off. You are trying so hard to run every single aspect of your life, to control everything. You're so thirsty to put all the pieces together on your own. And then you wonder why you are so exhausted all the time, why you are so overwhelmed all the time. You are tired of trying to figure it all out by yourself. Give up authority. Give God control. The second that Jesus called on him, he was up. He ran right to Jesus. He didn't second guess anything. He wasn't like, oh, wait a second, is this really happening? Oh my gosh, do I really deserve this? He wasn't like, wait, this is not part of the plan. I didn't think that this was going to happen. I don't know what to do next. Oh my gosh, what's going to happen when I get there? Is he really going to, like, he didn't have all these questions. He wasn't trying to figure anything out. Jesus said, come to me. And he went quick. It says Bartimaeus threw aside his cloak. He threw that thing. He wasn't worried about nothing. He said, Jesus called me. I'm on the way. Got a blast. For real, be for real. Stop playing, bro. That is real stuff. Like, how many of us have so much hesitation? And a lot of it for me came from fear. I got scared. The second Jesus said, hey, Chelsea, I have a big calling for you. There's a purpose for your life, love. Go discover who I created you to be so that you can start walking in this calling. I said, what? I'm not really no ride or die type of individual. I got questions. Where are we headed? How are we getting there? Where's the map? Like, I need direction. I need to know how long it's going to take. Like, I want to be in control all the time because I'm scared that nobody else can have control the way that I have control. I get scared that nobody else genuinely cares about my well-being the same way that I do. Oh my gosh. This is like a therapy session, child. Get that girl some milk. It took me really gaining a solid relationship with God for me to understand that God wants the best for me. God knows me way better than I will ever know myself. I can give up control. I don't want the control. Don't put me in charge. I don't even know what I'm doing half the time. Everything that I even do nowadays, that's God, baby. I'm just as lost and confused as y'all. What blessings are right there waiting for you to give up control? What blessings are right there waiting for you to stop trying to dictate everything? Stop trying to control everything. Stop trying to figure it all out by yourself. Rip the cloak off and go follow him. Ooh, that's good. That was a word. Okay, moving on. We're almost done. We're moving right along, baby. Verse 51, it says, what do you want me to do for you? Jesus asked. My rabbi, the blind man, said, I want to see. Okay, the first half of that verse, what do you want me to do for you? Jesus asked. First of all, Jesus is a character because Jesus already knows that. You don't think Jesus knows what you want? Jesus knew exactly what Bartimaeus needed, exactly what Bartimaeus wanted. And I feel like a lot of times Jesus will ask us these questions to see if we're about to stand on it, to see if we're about to have the faith to ask for what we really want. And there were so many times where I was very scared to ask God for what I wanted. There have been so many times where God was like, Chelsea, what do you want? And because I was so stuck on what I thought I deserved, in my head, I'd be like, I really want that beautiful white farmhouse with the dark shutters and maybe like a big backyard with the trampoline and the basketball hoop. And then I'd be like, God, if you could just give me a little apartment, that would be cool. Like I'll be cool with that. I put limitations on God based on what I felt like I deserved, based on what I felt like I worked for. I would look at my bank account and then let that dictate what I thought God should do for me, what I thought God could do for me. Baby, you sound crazy. There have been a few times where I felt God asking me certain things to see if I would stand on it, to see if I would be like, you know what, God, I know you have the power to do this. I'm going to ask you for this. God, let me just be real with you. Let me not put limitations on you. I don't want the apartment, God. I want the house. I want the beautiful home. I want the entertaining space. I want real friends. I want a solid marriage. I want a family. This is what I actually want. And I know that you have the power to do it, so I'm going to ask for it. Ooh wee. He said, what do you want me to do for you? My gosh. What do you want me to do for you? My rabbi, the blind man, said, I want to see. Oh my gosh, y'all. If I was Bartimaeus in this moment, I would have second guessed myself so much. I would have been like, well, I really wanted to ask you if I could get my vision back, but I would have had a whole pity party. Like, no, I don't really think I deserve sight, because there was like a month ago when I sat there crying and I was mad at you and I cursed you for doing this and I sinned here and I sinned here. Like, I would go down this rabbit hole of all the reasons why it might not be smart for me to ask Jesus for this. Like, who am I to ask him for things that I want? What? And he said, I want to see. He said, no, I know what you have the power to do. I'm not about to ask you for something small. I'm about to ask you for the huge things that I really want. And it's wild to me also that he didn't say, I need to see. Oh my gosh. Bartimaeus did not say, I need to see. He didn't say that I'm living a miserable life because I can't see. I need help in this area in order to fulfill anything in this world. I need to be able to see. No, he said, I want to see. The question here is, why do so many of us focus so much on only asking God for the things that we need? Why do we think we're not allowed or not supposed to ask God for all the things that we want? You want to see. You don't need to see. You have everything that you need. All right, finishing off with verse 52. It's the last verse. It says, and Jesus said to him, go, for your faith has healed you. Instantly the man could see and he followed Jesus down the road. It's like every single verse. Every single verse. There's so much depth in all of it. He said, go. For your faith has healed you. Not, oh my God. Jesus did not sit there and go down a huge list of things that Bartimaeus had to do in order to get healing. He said, the fact that you believed that I could and that you believed that I would, the fact that you had faith, that's what healed you. It was not your good works that healed you. It was not all the good deeds that you put into the world. It was not your good character. It was not the fact that you were picture perfect all the time. That's not what got you healing. What got you healing was your faith. What got you healing was your belief. What got you healing was the fact that you really sat here and you believed that I could do it and that I would do it. You believed that if you just used your voice and spoke out, that I would come help you. The question here is, why do you think you have to earn God's healing? Why do you think that you have to be picture perfect all the time? When the Bible clearly says you need the faith of a mustard seed, baby. His faith healed him. What have you not received? Not because you don't deserve it, but because you stopped believing in God. Because you stopped believing that it would be done. Not just that it could be done, but that God would do it for you. What did you stop believing in? My gosh, I sound like a pastor or something. You better preach, preacher. What's the difference between a preacher and a pastor? It don't even matter. Anyway, y'all, if y'all made it to the end, shout out to you. That's my longest video that I've had on here. If you made it this far, comment the word vision in the comments. I really am curious to see who actually sat and watched that whole video. You really watched that? That was so nice. I really hope you guys got value out of those verses the way that I did. But that's the word that I have for you guys today. I will see you guys back on here tomorrow. Make sure you guys go follow me across other platforms. I post my morning routine and whatnot every day on Instagram. We also sit and chit chat on TikTok live every morning, Monday through Friday at 9:30 a.m. EST. My username is all things CWin across all things social media. All right, I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye, friends.